Good evening, Norcal Karters. This is Jason, and this is your weekly update. And this is going to be a very interesting show. One, I have a guest on. His name's Eric Gunderson, and he's from Colorado, and he helps with the local karting scene out there. So you want to say hello, Eric?
Well, hello. Thanks for having me on, Jason. And yeah, it's been quite a week, or at least the last few days has been pretty strange.
Yeah, it has been. So for those of you that are just tuning in because we just went live, Eric and I were talking about there's no traffic, there's nobody out, everyone's on lockdown. It's kind of just a weird environment, and I really was toying with the idea of even doing a podcast tonight because what upcoming events do I talk about? Everything on my calendar has been postponed. How's it out there in Colorado?
It seems completely normal, and yet obviously it's not. I mean, the day-to-day stuff, obviously traffic, grocery store, all that's kind of empty or just very curtailed. But on the karting side, I mean, we just had a meeting this evening talking about what we're going to do, and obviously as the situation unfolds, we're going to have to figure it out. But definitely, unfortunately, we had to cancel at least one race. And the karting community here is certainly a bit smaller than, say, in Northern California or, especially Southern California. But obviously, it's impacting us pretty severely. And I don't know. It just seems like every day we just kind of have to take it one day by day and just see. Almost feels like you get different, closures or different orders every day in terms of, how many people you're supposed to be around and things like that. So it's just kind of an evolving situation.
Yeah, I think that's the same for everybody. Now, what is your, and I won't, whatever your answer is, I won't hold it against you. What is your personal take on this whole thing?
Honestly, day to day, I'm either in front of my computer working on pointkarting.com stuff, or I'm at my shop. And so for me, the change in terms of the number of people I see day to day hasn't changed that much until I've gone out, and kind of done normal people stuff like going to the grocery store or trying to go to a restaurant or something like that. In terms of canceling races or canceling large events, it's hard for me to say. I mean, I definitely can understand the health concern, whether jokingly or actually. I mean, obviously the whole social distancing thing with, the fact that we wear helmets and suits and gloves and, how much does that make you more safe than other areas? I don't know. But I guess it's kind of the thought of better safe than sorry. And, I mean, the reality is it seems like my impression is there isn't a lot of understanding right now or general consensus on, what is safe and what isn't, or at least the opinions are definitely very all over the place with it. So I think it's just a bummer that we don't get to go racing, but there's obviously bigger issues going on, so we have to respect that too.
Yeah, I fall into that latter category where I just want to keep doing my daily business, and I've desensitized to all the media because in California when it rains a little bit it's a flooding. Noah's Ark is going to be coming back and everything is just so hyped up, and it's like, you know what? It's a flu, it's not a flu, it's pneumonia, I don't know. But I'm just desensitized, and I told my boss earlier today, I go, if this thing is legit and it's really this pandemic or whatever catchphrase the media is using today, if it really is a pandemic, I'm going to be screwed because I'm sitting there on a couple cans of tuna and sardines and some Triscuits, couple bad bottles of white wine, and I might be in for a long haul. Or not the long haul, for a long haul. But well, then I have other people on the other side of the spectrum that are I mean, they are truly affected by this. Like, this is consuming them and they have actual concern. And that's sad to see too, because it's like I have some friends that it just I don't want my friends or family to have bad experiences in general.
Yeah, I mean, I hear very all over the place opinions about this. There's definitely some people that are wringing their hands about it, and then there's other people that are kind of just going, this is no big deal, and it's way overhyped. And so, from where I sit, I just don't feel like I know what to believe or really what to do. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure somewhere, up in the mountains here, there's some preppers that are hoping they're going to make us all look bad. But on the other
Sitting
hand,
on their piles of gold and silver.
Yeah, they've been preparing for this for years, and now it's our day of reckoning. But I'm hoping for our sake that it isn't. And,
yeah, I think in California, I think we call that area Ione.
Yeah, there's a whole lifestyle of people that live up in these small towns up in kind of the Rocky Mountain area that just in general they kind of eschew or just don't really want a whole lot to do with society, and they have built their house with their own hands, and they don't really go to the grocery store anyway, and it's just kind of a whole little subgroup. And so I'm sure a lot of them are feeling pretty righteous right now. But regardless, for us people that are in the Denver metro area, I think it's just a lot of not really sure. But I don't know. I'm hoping things get back to normal soon. I know that pretty much anyone that likes racing, whether you like NASCAR or Formula One or IndyCar or obviously karting, kind of a major withdrawal time, right? So I don't know if there's an illness for that, but I know that quite a few of my customers and quite a few of the racers here are filling their time doing iRacing or doing something else, or just choosing to basically go out to the track and organize the race themselves. It seems like we're almost on the verge of doing that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and so since we're on the subject of racing and tracks, I started saying it last year that 2020 was going to be the year of the club. I didn't realize I was going to cause an epidemic and this virus was going to be all my fault. But, I'm going to say this tongue in cheek, but it's pretty serious. I don't know what the right say. Most of our clubs are doing pretty poorly right now as far as turnout. So they're not going to be in any jeopardy of having too many people at the track for a club race. So maybe this is an absolutely great time in your own way. If you feel comfortable doing it, go out to your local club. If you've been a regional racer for a couple of years and that's all your focus has been, well, call up one of the local clubs and say, hey, are you guys going to be open? Can I come on out? I just want to go drive. And maybe in a weird way, this is actually be good for the clubs. And, some of the regional guys, the regional series are going to be able to adapt and change, and they move pretty quick on their feet. So I'm not really too worried about them. I think it's going to be more of an inconvenience because things are getting changed. I feel real bad for one of our local tracks, Prairie City. They've put a lot of time and money and effort into getting their track ready for their first club race last weekend, which got rained out. And then they have the KPX on the calendar for this weekend that got postponed. And on a personal level, it hurts to see those kind of people that just were all in 100%. Now it's like they have the what ifs. And I don't know. Maybe you guys had to go through the same thing every single year because you have snow and winter, and you guys have a short racing season. So everyone up there kind of knows, nope, this is when we can race, and that's it. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Eric?
On that, I would say the answer is kind of. I mean, we can plan for snow. We can't plan for a virus pandemic, right? So we can structure our schedule accordingly. But yeah, I mean, when December and January rolls around, karting kind of shuts down here. Some racers will go to other areas normally. But But to kind of a parallel to Prairie City, and definitely not to the same level of investment, but one of the facilities out here, a facility known as Action Karting, which is on the Vandermeer Speedway drag strip facility, they just spent quite a bit of money repaving certain sections of their track, and people have been responding really favorably to that. They've seen an uptick in turnout in terms of just weekly, weekend racers, which of course also corresponds with, the weather being a little bit better. But now we're looking at, realistically, unfortunately, the largest regional series here in the state is going to have to cancel the opening race, which was set to be at that track. So I guess whether it's in Northern California or here, it's definitely going to have at least a short-term impact on the economic well-being and the turnout at those races. But yeah, if you're a weekend warrior or you're just a track day guy, not 100% sure what the situation is in Northern California. I think I might have heard correctly that school in some areas got canceled, if not just for the next few weeks, but almost to the end of the year. Not 100% sure if that's all the way across California or Northern California. I just know in I think Los Angeles School District, they just did that. But, so for younger guys or younger families, it's kind of an excuse to go out and drive more, right? And then for a lot of people that are working at home, or maybe whether they like it or not, have a little bit more flexible schedule, definitely the tracks are hurting, and they would love to have an excuse to open their gates. So, yeah, if it's a group of people, or just yourself and you want to go run, now in a weird way might be a better chance than you get during the year when, 10 weekends out of the year are that you might have normally had taken up by a larger series there that, maybe you don't want to race at or what have you. Now you can go have the track to yourself. But I think that ultimately, if people like karting and they want to go drive, they're going to go drive. It is ultimately, for a lot of people, especially people that have been in the sport for multiple years, and I would group a lot of your kind of club level or sportsman type racers into this group. It's a social group for them just as much as it is, an activity individually. So I'm hoping that that'll give a lot of people reasons to go out. And, for race teams, it gives them an excuse to go test. And it gives tracks, in a weird way, maybe an opportunity to try some different events that they haven't been able to do before. Although, of course, that's maybe limited depending on the size of the scale of what you're hoping to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's the other thing about from an industry, when stuff like this happens, we need to be quick on our feet. We need to be agile as far as to the changes, and a lot of it too is just the personal, I guess, a personal opinion of everybody. If I found out tomorrow that there was going to be a test and tune day with some people I wanted to go out with, I would go out to the track. I'm not fearing for my life at this moment. I would go out there. Now, would I I have been a little bit more cautious as far as being more aware of the people that are coughing, and as I'm coughing during the podcast, but you can't catch it through the microphone, I've heard. I read it on Google.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
Not yet. They haven't told us that yet.
No, not yet, yes. Only if the microphone goes to the media outlets and then you're paying too much attention to them. But I'm not quite a tin hatter. I don't quite have my aluminum foil hat out yet. But,
well, that's good.
Yeah. So for those of you tuning in, this is my rambling session. I have Eric Gunderson on with Point Karting and also the Colorado Karter, and he's out of Colorado, hence the Colorado Karter. And pretty much all the events I'm looking at. We had the Vintage Kart event this weekend, Rides of March. That's the Vintage Kart Club of America. So they had to postpone their event. KPX at Prairie City, they had to post their event. Eric and I were just talking about how I I just